Hi everyone, I'm just working on a new kit and it's fibre art. It's where we use these lovely threads and thread it through hessian and make a little scene. So this one my idea is to make it like a lagoon, Blue Lagoon, and let me just try and unknot what I've done here. And what I'll do is normally in my kits that are like this, I have a piece of linen at the bottom, at the top, you know, and it's the sky. But on this one I thought, let's see if we can make it the bottom, and that could be the sand. We're using a lovely turquoise color background, so that could easily be a you know, the background for the sea colors. Quite happy with that. And now I'm just going to find my plastic needle and we'll have a go. Okay, here's one here. These big eye ones are great. Okay, so what I was thinking is I've got some creams and I've got some aquas and I've got, you know, all different kinds of ones. Some are textural, some are plain. So I'm just wanting a plain one, and I'm wanting it to be the sandy color. See, to start down there. And I thought, you know, at where the ocean meets the sand, you would have a little bit of, you would see it, wouldn't you? So I'm just doing this. I think there's a little bit of ocean poking through, if you see what I meant. So I'm just gonna, let me pick it up for a minute to make it easier. I'm just going to pull little gaps in this. I don't mind if that happens. Don't worry about that at all. We've let bits of that blue through as if the waves are crashing there. See? So I think that's a good start. The other thing I would do is come with one of these, and that allows me to sort of think, oh yes, well I kind of, that's where I want it. And so I'm just going to pencil in a line, I think. If it was over here, I should get a fabric marker. I'll get a fabric marker in a minute. And if it was outside there, probably no further than that, you know. And then if it was like that, probably up there somewhere. So that gives me an idea. Now let's do it the proper way. Fabric marker. So I can see that I don't need to go past that edge. Okay, and something up here. So it's going to be within those parameters, and it's probably finishes about here. Okay. I just wanted it to ripple into that sort of thing. That's the idea. So here I am. I'm going to take the most sandy like thin thread I have. And so it's very easy to thread these needles, and you can't come to any harm because it's plastic. Quite often with these I just thread it in from the side, and I leave the tail, and later on I deal with the tails there. So just leave that hanging. And for this one I'm just wondering, can I just do a little, can I do something like this? Will it stitch through both? So that's the experiment. Yeah, okay. So I'm going to just go backwards and forwards a little bit, following these little kind of shapes that I've already put in. And I think that'll really give us something to work on. Now I'm working this out because I'm doing a new kit, and I like to do it and work it out and photograph it as I go and show people what to do. I like to have good instructions, but I also need to work out whether it'll work, and then I need to photograph the cover and, you know, all of that. So I thought you can see it as I'm doing it, and we'll see together whether it works. I think so. You can always do more. There, you could pull some threads out if you wanted. You could use your needle to open up holes in that, you know, because I think it looks like that to me. Before we go too far, I'm just going to take another photo and just say, well, that's stage 1. So there's our line, and we don't really need to go past that. We can just turn around and go back. You turn the whole thing around. If you're a right-hander or a left-hander, you probably want to go from the other side, but this is the most handy for me. Now I want to keep this very, very simple, so I'm only going to do this straight stitch, but I wanted to say that if you did want to experiment, you know, you could do you could add in all kinds of things. You could add in little shells and beads and things that might be washed up. Bring in some embroidery threads. But that's not what we're doing today. Today we're just doing this. So I'm not going straight lines. And when I have these things, I don't know, I could hook it down, or I could make it go up, whatever. But when you sew a stitch, you know, eventually it'll all get caught in. So that's what we're after. When you finish, try and finish off an edge like that. So now I do have a few others like that, soft, still using a beigey kind of one. My idea is that the back would be darker colours. Maybe the more textural ones would be at the back. But these, let's see if it'll stitch through. Leaving a tail. Oops, I've started too far. Never mind, that's alright. You see the difference there where I just did a little stitch under and here giant stitches. So that's more fluid doing it at the moment like this, because what I'm trying to do is a nice little ripple affair. I'm not pulling it too tight, just letting it. And I don't mind crossing over either. Crossing over from one to another. Oh, I think that's quite effective. Even afterwards, if this shifts around, you can do that, or you can pull some threads out, whatever you like. I just like the idea that we're getting bits of that to show. So by not doing the straight lines, I've managed to get a little bit of a you know, like lapping, the water lapping gently. And what I would like to do is manage to get a few other, you know, maybe a very pale blue or something like that in there as well. So I'm happy to leave little gaps. And fill them later. Yeah, very happy. Now if you do have to end off in the middle, instead of taking it out to the side, like when I took it out to the side, I just left the ends, and later on, you know, you could, it's really not going to matter anyway because it's going to be under the cover, but you know, you can do things like you could, if you've got a sewing machine, you could do a little zigzag or overlocker, or even just leave them. If it's a picture, then it's not going to unravel. See, I'm not going to make it to the end there, so I'm going to make this my last there, and then see here, you can go under, and that's knotting it off, and it's also taking it down to the bottom, but I'm happy with that. Neatly ended off. So can you see? That's great. That's a good start. I'm just going to grab something. Let's have a look at what we've got here. So textural, dark will be at the back. Oh, that's nice. Jadey colour. Blues, blue and green. That's quite pale. Might go at the front. That's a pale one. I would just see. That's a nice pale one too. That could come at the front. Building up. What's that? Yes, you'd be at the front. You might be further back. So we work it out like that, I think. And just at the moment, what I would like is to have a tiny bit of contrast. So I'm just going to add in a bit of this green. Just and as we're causing ripples, let's go like that. That's quite pretty. You know, with this turquoise background, we don't need to fill it all in, which is great. I'm not trying to hide the background, I like it. So my first series of these kits, I did a sea and a prairie and a field of flowers, but they were always straight. But now we're mixing it up a bit. We're going to the next stage. We're going to put in a little bit of a curve. At least at this stage. And I think because we use this plastic needle, this is a perfectly acceptable one to give a child or a young young adult that you're trying to get enthusiastic about starting to sew. And I'm just going to leave some little gaps because I really do think I can come back. Now I've got another piece of this one. It's slightly different. It's brought more greenish colours in, so I'm going to use it next. I don't want all of these to be underneath each other, so next time I'm going to try and stagger that a little bit past. That's better. Okay, let's have a look at this. Now these colours were all pretty neutral and I have spread them out a bit, can you see? So that's left me space that I can come back and I can pop in something like that. Or something like that. I've got some brighter ones. I could bring a bit of that in if I wanted. I think I'll save them for the back. Got this lovely one too. So let's just start. So sometimes we'll be filling in those gaps and sometimes we'll be going further up. Okay, let's see. This is a very simple way to make art, and you're just doing the one stitch, and you don't have to be very tidy or neat or make them perfect, but look at how well this is coming together. See if I could have more sand if I wanted, or bring it right up there, and it just depends. Just depends on what you're going to want. So I'm going to start with something else. I'm getting a bit more colour in now. Oh, wasn't that pretty? Well, how's this for a bit of stitch therapy? Love it. Fill those gaps up. Here and do a bit more down there. There. And see, this one is a little bit more textural, so I'm going to bring in this one next and see. Oh, that's interesting. Go back and do another little row here. Now I know I've got some dark ones to fit in, so now I'm thinking I'm going to put them in because I need to be able to blend them in. I don't want it to be just a big wall of dark and then light. That's why I leave gaps, so that I can blend it a bit better. So I'm going to start up here where I think it's in the picture, about. And I think we'll be fairly straight on that back pass there. If some bits end up too dark, I can always go back and use a lighter one over top. So I'm not too worried. This one here, for example, has all different colours in it. It shades to a black almost, so still think it will work. I think I'll leave that for now, because I don't know how much dark I want in there. Just going to cut that there. I've got enough there to do another row if I want. Well, let's just leave that for now. Look at this. I'll pop some of that in. Or this nice fluffy one. So we'll just continue on. We've got some lovely different yarns, and keeping the darker ones towards the back and varying it a little, spreading the dark down and leaving gaps in between, as you can see. So then we can go back with some of our other yarns and fill in the spaces, and eventually it'll all come together. So look at this lovely green. We can use it as a bit of a highlight there, and I'm going to put a little bit of it in the front. Well, I want to say, see how I'm spreading out the dark? It's shading it in. I didn't want it to be dark, so that's what I'm doing, leaving the gaps so that I can then pop something else in there. So what do I want to do here? Maybe where this little gap is here. Just going to do a little knot there. If it's a thin wool, I just did a little 2 stitches on top of each other. But it's the big, thick, fat ones that you really you'll end up with a big, too thick a knot if you tried that. Well, you can. Just see how you go. But it isn't that important because it's a picture on the wall and it's not going to get any rough treatment. Look at this lighter coloured one and how it looks like it's a bit of a wave, a frothy wave. So I'm just going to fill in those last little bits, and then before I frame it, I would probably go back down here because and I'll just tease some more of this lovely aqua through, because I quite like that. It does look like frothy waves crashing on the shore then. So, see what I mean? So I'm just going to finish up now. I'm just going to put those last 2 colours in, just to fill in those little gaps there. Right, well, this is my last piece, and I'm going to look at it and just sort of think, how am I going? Do I see any gaps I don't particularly want? And that's what I mean. We've got a few gaps, but that's okay because it's that lovely turquoise we're letting through. I suppose there were patches that are a bit dark maybe, So maybe, you know, as I'm going down, I might just thread some of this through up there, and that'll lighten it. So can you see how that last piece, I just stop and I look and I think, what would I like? Or maybe you would like to sort of have more here and fading out. I don't know. But either way, I think it's going to be lovely. So I'm just going to start up here and see if I can't knock some of this dark colour back. Well, let's have a final look. Yeah, we knocked that colour back a bit, didn't we? What else? Oh, I'm happy. And I like it. If you imagine it up on the wall in a frame, I don't know, I think it'd be really nice. Just have a quick look now at some of the detail. And so we're finished. That was a lot of fun, and if you want to try this at home, you can try it with your own yarns. This kit will now be available up on my Etsy shop if you're wanting to have a go along with me. And I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, press like and subscribe. All my other details are below. And once again, thanks for watching.